So, good afternoon, dear students. This is Dr. Prof Sofia once again. So, in the course END 2213 South Asian Literature, today I am going to discuss a few poems from Module 2, which is poetry. This module consists of 4 poems written by a Korean, Nepali, Pakistani, and a Malaysian poet. But in this video, I am just going to discuss 2 poems, that is Justice by Zehra Nigar and A New Interpretation of the 12 Zodiacs by Sai Lin Lip. So this is the map of Pakistan. So you know it, and also one of the famous buildings in Pakistan. And this is the map of Pakistan. You can also see the other South Asian countries like Afghanistan and India in the backdrop. So this is Zehra Nigar, and it is her poem, Justice, that we are going to discuss today. So Zehra Nigar was born in 1935 in India, in Hyderabad. So when she was 10 years old, her family shifted or migrated to Pakistan. And Zehra is one of the women poets in Pakistan who made her mark in the male-dominated field. She has written a number of Urdu poems, ghazals and shairis, and she is fondly known as Zehra Apa in Pakistan. This is the poem that I will be discussing with you. The poem is titled Justice. Now this poem can also be interpreted in the feministic perspective also. So when I discuss it, I will also talk about it. So, imprisoned. I am also free in this little room. The sun moves across a window in the ceiling. Before it sets, rays of light sparingly enter. Now in this poem, the poet talks about her feelings when she had to migrate to Pakistan and the period when India was colonized by the British. So this also serves as the background for which the poem has been written, and also the poem can also be analyzed in the feministic perspective also. The poet says that she is imprisoned, but at the same time she says she is also free in her small room. So it is a bright and a beautiful morning. So she sees the sun's rays which enter into her room. At the same time, she also recollects about or on her fond memories of her brief stay in India before she migrated to Pakistan. So perhaps she also thinks, she's a little nostalgic when she says, I walk home, my father even now returning from the city. So she thinks of the happy childhood days when her father, when returning from work, would bring lot of presents for her. Every parent, when they return home after a long, hard day's work, they bring gifts for the children. You know that. You also must have experienced that. Your parents bring for you so many things, when they come back home. Similarly, even the poet's father, when he returns home from the hard day's work, he would bring for her a beautiful shawl, a comb, some bangles and kohl. Kohl means kajal. Small things that would make his daughter happy. And this is not the end of it, she says. And many other gifts for his little princess. Then she remembers her 2 brothers who would go to study in the mosque to read the Quran, the holy book of the Muslims, to read the sayings in the Quran, to memorize them, and then she also thinks about her sister. She also thinks about her sister who would bring food for the sparrows. Some crumbs of bread which she would bring to feed the sparrows early in the morning. Then she remembers her mother, who she says is kind of crazy, because according to Zahra, her mother would talk to sparrows. You know sparrows, you must have seen sparrows in near your house or perching beautifully in the branches of the trees. They are very common sight, sparrows. So the sparrows, when the mother is feeding the sparrows, she would talk to them as they pick the grain from their beaks. So her mother would say, when the sparrows still fathom the truth, in their beaks and claws, they would clutch the stones that would rage a storm to ravage lawgivers. Here again, maybe she is recollecting the horrors of colonization, how the Indians were ill-treated by the Britishers. So her heart goes for that. You can see here how beautifully she says, as her mother would say, when the sparrows still fathom the truth, in their beaks and claws, they would clutch the stones that would rage a storm to ravage lawgivers. So she imagines that the small sparrows, though they are small birds, they would carry small stones in their beaks and hurl those stones on the people who are trying to disrupt the people of the country, who are trying to play havoc on the innocents. Just as he would deliver himself, the supreme God. She is very hopeful. The poet is very hopeful that one day justice would definitely be delivered by God himself. Because we human beings, we are just puppets in the hands of God. So she is very hopeful. She is very positive that God himself would deliver justice. And when he delivers justice, it will be the same for all. So she pays respect to God, the most respected and the most praised. How should I tell my mother, am I the Kaaba, the house of the Lord? So she waits patiently. She is waiting very patiently for God to take or to show justice on the people who are reigning their power or rule on the Indians. So this is one way of interpreting this poem, and the other one is it can be interpreted in the feministic view also. So you can see here that Zahra talks about the time when when Pakistan is dominated by the male society and where women had to stay indoors. So we can interpret this poem in two ways also. So when you see the feministic perspective, you will see that she says that she is locked in a small room, though she is free to move about. And yet she is dependent on her father, the male, who would bring her gifts when returning from the city. And when she is in the home managing the household chores, her brothers are free to go to the mosque and study. And her sister and her mother, who stay at home, they look after the household chores in sharing the bread or feeding the sparrows or talking to them. So this is how they would manage their daily routine. But for all this, she hopes that one day God would himself deliver the justice. So you can see that this poem has been translated by Yasmin Hamid. The next poem that I am going to discuss is a poem written by Sai Lin Lip. He is a Malaysian, but this poem talks about the 12 zodiac signs in the Chinese calendar. So here in this picture you can see the flag of China and also dragon, maybe the most common animal that represents the Russian culture, and also the Great Wall of China. So this is the map of China, and these are the 12 zodiac signs in Chinese calendar. So you can see them there very clearly. There is a dragon, there is a snake, there is a rooster, there is a rat, there is a monkey, there is a pig, there is a dragon. So these Chinese zodiac animals have very lucky meanings to the Chinese people. They associate each animal with certain characteristics. It is believed that people born in a given year have the personality of that year's animal. So it's a very common belief of the Chinese people. Now these are the 12 zodiac signs of the English calendar. So you can see that for yourself. So there is the picture, you can see there the various names associated with it, like Virgo, Taurus, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Scorpion, Cancer, Leo, Aries. Now coming to the poem, a new interpretation of the 12 zodiacs by Sai Lin Lip. Now there is not much information available on the poet, but he is an Malaysian who has written about the Chinese zodiacs, or the 12 zodiacs representing the Chinese calendar. It's a very simple poem to be understood. So the 12 zodiacs in the Chinese calendar signifies 12 potentialities, he says. 12 characters, 12 charms, and all this will contribute, according to the poet, to the varieties and success of the world. Now one may believe that the pig, simple and easy, satisfied, or non-crime committing. So these animals, the pig especially, Sai Lin Lip says, these animals like the pig, they do not commit any crime. They are just happy feeding on the garbage to satisfy their hunger. So they do not commit any crimes, according to the poet. Now we know the characteristic of a dog, which is always alert and which is very faithful to its masters. It alerts its masters for dangers and also gives warning, some precaution for their masters. The rooster, that is a cock, that early morning it calls. It cocks early in the morning to remind the people that again yet another dawn has dawned, and so this bird, rooster, according to Sai Lin Lip, is very loyal. The monkey, we know, is very naughty. So the sight of the monkey, though sometimes we are afraid to see, that it might harm us, but on second thoughts, its actions make us very funny. So he says that the monkey adds laughter to cheer up the world. The sheep, a coat of protection from freezing and so hardships. So the sheep, we humans, we consume the meat of the sheep, but also, its warm wool protects us from freezing cold. So we make use of the wool to make sweaters, warm sweaters to keep us cold. The next animal in the Chinese calendar is the horse. The horse which gallops very fast, very swiftly. And the horse symbolizes energy and success. The snake, the minute or the moment we see the snake, we are so scared that it might sting us, it might bite us. So what does the poet say about it? A winding movement to escape from the blockades and hardships in a wise way. So just as the snake in its winding movement, just as it escapes when it sees its enemies, similarly, the person who has the characteristic or who was born in this star will also escape from any kind of hardships. The next is the dragon. So, dragon is just an imaginary animal. So, it signifies, according to Silent Lip, prosperity. The sight of the dragon is frightening. It is terrible, but yet, according to Silent Lip, it signifies prosperity, peace and happiness. So, the person who is born under this zodiac sign will have his dreams come true with his hard work. The next zodiac sign in the Chinese calendar is the rabbit. So, we all have seen the rabbit. It's such a soft and a very beautiful animal, and it is very humble. So, he says that the people born under this sign will always be very soft and humble. Then the tiger. It stands for energy and power. So, the people who are born under this sign of tiger will be very energetic and also will be very powerful. The ox, this ox helps the farmers in the fields. It is a very hard-working animal. It helps the farmers a lot in sowing in the fields. So, it endures any kind of hard work. So, the people who are born under the zodiac sign of the ox will be very hard-working and will endure any kind of hardships. The next and the last animal is the rat. The rat is very active, especially during the night time. So, he says that those who are born under this zodiac sign will be active even if they have many misfortunes, even if they have faced many problems in their life, still they will be active. So, the poet concludes by saying that these 12 distinguishing characters of mankind will decide the future of the world tomorrow. So, he says that, the people who are born under these zodiac signs, like the pig, which is very simple, the dog, which is very alert, the rooster, which is abiding and loyal, the monkey, who makes us laugh, the sheep, which gives its wool for protection, the horse, which is very energetic, the snake, which can escape from any kind of hardships, the dragon, which signifies prosperity, the rabbit, with its humble nature, the tiger, which is full of energy, the hard-working ox, the active rat, people who symbolize or who are born under these signs will, according to the poet, will decide the future of the world tomorrow. So, people who combine the characteristics of all the animals mentioned in the Chinese calendar, according to the poet, will decide the future of the world tomorrow. Thank you.